Yes, spring is upon us here today, and before the break, we showed you a home video. It was a question from Norma and Jay about spring fever. Norma and Jay have been gracious enough to join us to talk about spring fever.
Ooh, yes.
Because I love spring fever.
Sounds like you
Who
guys.
doesn't? I love it.
Sure.
No, it's great. Now, tell us what your experience is like with spring fever.
We were in a climate where it snows a lot and rains and it's cold, and he was kind of grumpy then. But when the weather changed, oh my goodness, he was frisky. He was, the hands were moving.
Don't you
little
like
kisses.
that?
I love it. I love
You
it.
want it to be
Yes.
spring all year
All the
round,
time.
don't
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And do you notice this change right around as it starts to get warmer?
Yeah, I do. I'm a summer guy anyway.
Okay.
I just kind of like cruise through winter. You know, around February, I come around, you know, spring training and all that stuff. And, you know,
So you wake up in the morning, you're like stretching out before you get frisky.
absolutely.
Well, this is completely normal, and enjoy that. This is one reason why in the high schools and things like that, I start to teach about the birds and the bees and sex ed and things like that, so that they know what's going on with their bodies. Because in a typical winter, you know, when it's dark, and then as the days start to get longer and you start to have those variations in light, the retina actually gets sensitive to those variations in light, and you can actually get hormonal changes in the brain that start. And what happens, particularly with melatonin, is it'll start to decrease, and then your mood will actually start to lift. That's when you start to, you know, do your stretches and start getting frisky, because not only does the mood lift, but the sperm count actually increases. And they've shown from March to May and April, basically that sperm count's going up. That's why the conception is higher. And actually those hormones go, that libido goes, you start to get more sexual energy as well as just energy. And that's when it all happens. That's why you got to explain all those hormones in the spring, because they're just all charged up. And the kids, you adults already know what to do with those
Yeah.
hormones. But the kids need to know how to do it.
That's an advantage we have living in California, Southern California. We have spring fever all year round.
But let me ask
Wow.
everyone, because the one caution, of course, for those of us who live in a colder climate is you do need to be a little bit more careful, because you don't want to one day be sitting on the couch and then the first day of spring go run a marathon. There can be an increased risk for negative things like heart attacks if you overdo it. So you want to make sure that you ease into spring,
Ease
get out there
into
and
it.
enjoy
But that's
it.
kind of rare, and so you still want
It is
to.
rare.
It is rare, so you still want to go ahead and take advantage of that daylight, take advantage of those feelings, and get out and have
Yeah,
some
you know,
fun.
and limber up a little bit, because you know you don't want to pull your back during your first spring sexual escapade. Like, oh, you know, spring training didn't go so
Don't get
well.
out of shape
That's
during the
right.
winter.
Thank you so much for your question, though. That really.
And one real quick tip for you and anyone at home who gets into spring fever is go ahead, as winter is winding down, the more activity you can start, number one, the more ready you'll be to get out there and attack spring, lower risk of injury, but also the more activity you do in the winter, the less likely you are to get those winter blues. I mean, seasonal affective disorder is a very common phenomena. It's a legitimate phenomena. And if you can stay active and frisky through the winter, you're going to find that your mood come spring will be even better.